Good afternoon. Thank you all so much for being here with us. So we are here to, one, unveil an RFP process that will be forthcoming for mass feeding throughout the city of New Orleans. We understand the effects that COVID-19 has had on our city and our most vulnerable populations. It has truly been immeasurable. Right now, many of our people are in real need, and we do know as we move through June and towards the end and face July, the needs will increase even more as it relates to our people having access to food nutrition. So with this, the City of New Orleans is pleased to announce its forthcoming initiative to help address COVID-19 related food insecurity across, again, the City of New Orleans. We will provide one of the most comprehensive mass feeding programs in the United States of America, the first of its kind. Approximately 1.8 meals per month will be prepared for our people. They will be distributed during the entirety of this official emergency. This program will specifically target our most vulnerable populations who are not receiving federal assistance through other programs, but are impacted by COVID-19. These populations include seniors and those homebound adults, high-risk health adults, citizens with special needs, special medical needs as well, our homeless citizens, as well as our families with children under the age of 18. This is a big deal. The city has requested to FEMA for up to $18 million to help fund this initiative, but it will share in the financial responsibility as there is a 75-25 cost share match. But it's one that we know that it's worth it because the needs throughout our city as it relates to food insecurity, the needs are great. And we have seen over the past 2 months how we've worked collectively or collaboratively with partners throughout the city, particularly under the leadership of our Office of Homeland Security and that of our Office of Youth and Families. We could not have accomplished any of this without the strong partnerships that we share, and one in particularly with the Greater New Orleans Foundation. So I say thank you to all of our partners who have gotten us to this point and who have been feeding our people literally thousands of meals over the past couple of months. But we knew when we started that it would be impossible to sustain those efforts if we did not have additional resources needed to do so. So with that, I'm going to ask Ramsey Green, who is our Deputy CAO of Infrastructure, to come forth, give you more information on what this mass feeding program, what it means and what impact it will have on the citizens of the City of New Orleans. So with that, Ramsey.
Thank you so much, Mayor. This is a very this is a great moment for the City of New Orleans and for the Mayor Cantrell's leadership. This is a highly complex situation where we have economic devastation alongside public health devastation, and food and feeding is not something that people should be worried about in a time like now. We have an incredibly capable team who knows how to work with FEMA at the Project Delivery Unit under Joe Thread's leadership. The Office of Youth and Family did incredible work in trying to figure out how something like this would work. But about about 6 to 8 weeks ago, we realized we need to ask our federal partners. We're in a very vulnerable position right now, and Colin is going to be more specific in how the feeding has worked thus far, thanks to the nonprofit, the philanthropic community, but we cannot rely on those funds forever. And on Friday of last week, the federal government, through the Federal Emergency Management Agency, approved this obligation for the city of New Orleans of about $18 million, about a pace of 60,000 meals per week. And it is a federal cost share that the city will be working with. But the folks on our city side who made this happen, that required policy thinking, again, through the Office of Youth and Families and the leadership of Emily Wolf, the Greater New Orleans Foundation, the Project Delivery Unit, the NOSEP Office, New Orleans Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. This isn't something that FEMA normally does. This isn't the kind of disaster, no disaster is normal, but this is a very abnormal situation. And all of those folks working well together, including the FEMA leadership locally, that team works with us on a daily basis, and we cannot thank them enough. They'll be here at some point once we have something more to announce, but really what this is the announcement of an RFP that is now online. Colin will talk more about that, for the food service community to come figure out a way to most effectively feed the folks in our city who most need food. Thank you so much, Mayor.
Thank you so much, Ramsey. So now we're going to ask our Director of Homeland Security, Colin Arnold. Please come on, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mayor. So we know that the pandemic has threatened the lives of our residents, not only through the virus itself, but also through secondary health effects that come with food insecurity that is now faced by a large portion of our population. Laid off workers, families with children, homebound seniors, medically vulnerable residents are all members of the community who have found themselves in need of food as a result of the pandemic. This is a need that our local nonprofit community anticipated and responded to right away in the initial COVID-19 response. Since mid-March, nonprofit organizations, houses of worship, and volunteers have been distributing food boxes and meals to our residents in need. And as was mentioned by both the mayor and Ramsey, we are very, very grateful for that. Federally supported programs like the NOLA Public Schools and Nord Feeding Site programs for children and families have provided much needed support in this as well, and they will continue. All these programs that are going on right now will continue, but from extensive data analysis, what we've realized is that they are struggling now to continue and to ramp up more, and we needed to provide a way for that to happen. So that's why my office, the Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness, the Office of Youth and Families, and the city's Project Delivery Unit, in partnership with FEMA, will be launching this first of its kind pandemic feeding program. As mentioned, it will be 1.8 million nutritious meals to qualifying residents who are not being served by existing feeding options. As we developed the scope of this project, it was crucial for us to ensure that local food establishments would be involved, supporting commercial kitchens, local restaurants, and their employees. So in a way, this is doing public service, and it's also stimulating our restaurant economy, which we know is crucial at this time. So through a request for proposals or RFP process, potential vendors will submit their proposals to provide meals to New Orleanians in need through partnerships with local restaurants. Interested businesses, anyone interested in doing this, should go to the city's supplier portal at nola.gov/purchasing so that you can receive notifications about this opportunity. It is RFP number 624. Again, nola.gov/purchasing. Once selected, the vendor will work directly with the city, who will manage the qualifying criteria for residents to receive meals. If you are in need of meals due to the pandemic and you are not receiving other federal food support, you may qualify for this program. And we're going to provide a lot of additional details once the vendor has been selected about how you, as residents, can access this much needed resource. New Orleans was hit hard by COVID-19, both the impacts of the virus and the cascading economic impacts that have resulted from its spread. The development of this unique program is just another example of the dedication that this administration has towards leveraging partnerships and using creative solutions to assist our most vulnerable residents and our local economy. And I'm proud to stand here today with the mayor and Ramsey to ensure that no New Orleanian goes hungry during this public health emergency.
Thank you so much, Colin. Thank you so much.
Thank you all again, so much. And as we're demonstrating that we absolutely do not want to leave any of our residents behind as we move through this pandemic and the impacts of this pandemic, and those that we know are prevalent today. But even as we move forward, we know that the needs of our people have to remain a top priority for the city of New Orleans. This is one of its kind in partnership again with FEMA. But we saw the need, made the ask, wrote the proposal in partnership, and now today unveiling our RFP process. This is tremendous for our city. So with that, we'll go to questions. Ms. Latanya, if you all have any.
Are there any questions?
Yes.
WWL.
Mayor, can you speak about what you've seen with demonstrations across the country and what you've seen with demonstrations here in New Orleans?
Well, as it relates to this mass feeding program, that's what I'll respond to at this time. After this particular press conference, I'm okay with the pull aside to speak to other matters, but on this, I want to stay along the lines of the mass feeding program.
Mayor, can you talk about how quickly this came together and your thoughts post-agreement going forward?
Well, how quickly it came together, I'm telling you, just as fast as the city and its partners kind of standing up food providing and services throughout the city, and seeing the faces of our people every single day, meaning how they were responding to this and how we were able to meet their needs, just solidified to us that we had to look at a long-term strategy. And so it was a lot of work, tireless effort in a short period of time, and a lot of steps, even with working with our state partners, GOSEP, and of course communicating with FEMA every step of the way. So it was pretty quick, I would say, to get to this point. Unprecedented.
Your personal feelings today?
My personal feelings today is that, one, I'm so very proud of this administration, all of our partners as well, just leaning in and being creative and innovative about how can we respond to the needs of our residents comprehensively. And this is a step in the right direction. 18 million, 1.8 million prepared meals, the need and costs, for all of our residents, our families. This is a good deal. This is a really huge step, and I'm just hopeful that the residents will see it as well and appreciate just the thoughtfulness and the intentionality that's gone into getting us where we are right now.
The advocate.
Madam Mayor, when do you anticipate that the program will start? And then I do have pull-aside questions about the demonstrations and then about phase 2.
Okay, and you want to walk through, and I would say give them the walk through our timeline. I think that will be helpful because it's going right out.
Jessica, it's an accelerated procurement program. Part of the reason we're doing this big announcement is so people know about it. So everybody in the business industry of food service have an opportunity. They go on that website, they click on that number, and all the dates are in there. But I can tell you we accelerated it as a quick procurement as possible. A couple things to remember is that we're in the position of managing federal funds, so we have to do this a very specific, very correct way, and we're very conscious of that. And we don't want to, I think what the mayor said about, we saw what some of these nonprofits did and philanthropics were doing, and we saw that at some point that's going to end. And concurrently we said, okay, how are we going to do this in the near term and ensuring that people are fed? Because we don't want that day to come when they say we're out of meals, because a meal today is a much more valuable thing than a meal promised to you 3 months from now. People are hungry today. We want to make sure that they're fed. And the federal government working so closely with us on this was just a huge victory. FEMA reviewed the RFP to ensure that all the requirements are on there. There's really no precedent for this during the COVID disaster. There's a partial one in the state of California, but we are way more inclusive of who can get the meal compared to what California is doing. But I don't want to give you a promise date. I just asked, go on that link and you'll see the deadlines the mayor's talking about in the procurement process.
No, I did see the ones for the vendor to be selected. I just was curious about Once the vendor is selected.
Once they're selected,
That's it. Y'all are gonna-
they ought to be ready to go. And a message to the food service community is sharpen your pencils. We have a suspicion there's gonna be a lot of interest in this RFP. And it doesn't mean that it needs to be one company necessarily. If other companies get together and form a team to bid on it, we welcome that. We wanna make sure that we're paying for this at a very, fair rate, and that as many folks as can participate. And because this is gonna be, as Colin really eloquently said, this is stimulus for our local economy as well.
Jambalaya News.
Mayor, residents live close to New Orleans, like Jefferson Parish, example, can participate in this program?
The feeding program, the mass feeding program, is extended to residents of the city of New Orleans. But we're always, willing to help and I would say, give some direction to other parishes that may wanna go this route. And not just, locally, but this is unprecedented across the country, but the needs are great.
Charmaine.
Can you repeat the website and the RFP number?
Sure, Colin, give the number.
It's nola.gov/purchasing, and it's RFP number 624.
Are there any other questions pertaining to the mass feeding initiative?
All right, thank you all so much. Thank you.